Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Love. If you're new here, hello, you're welcome to my channel. If you're a returning subscriber, thank you for being here today. I really do appreciate all your love and all your support towards my channel. So today guys, I'm going to be talking about something very interesting and something informative. Basically, because we're in September, so it's a new section for international students to move into the UK to start their degree program. Now in the UK, the accommodation is scarce. I mean, it's so choked up to the extent that you can be here in the UK, you will not find an accommodation to stay for yourself. People who have come to the UK in the last 3 months are still scouting for accommodation or are still scouting for somewhere for them to stay. Most of them are living in Airbnb, some of them are living in hotels, which is eating up their money. Because you imagine you're spending £90 per night, £80 per night, and at the end of the week or for 1 week or 7 days, you're spending up to £300 or £700. Is ridiculous. So at the moment, the UK is choked up with students who are stranded, no accommodation. Now let's dive right into the main purpose of this video, why I am doing this video or why I chose to share this information. The UK now is warning students not to travel amid housing shortage. So universities are already letting students know that if you don't have an accommodation readily available for where you choose to study, there is no point for them to give you your CAS, if that makes sense. So if they are going to interview you when they're going to give you your CAS, they're going to ask you questions. Do you have anywhere to stay? Do you have a family here in the UK who can accommodate you for a period of 1 month till you are fully settled? And those kind of questions might lead to interesting questions, and they might tell you, no, we can't give you a CAS if you tell them that you don't have any accommodation or you don't have any family ready who is here or who is in the UK who is ready to accept you, accommodate you when you fully moved into the UK. So now they say the university wants students not to travel if they don't have accommodation, because right now in the UK there is shortage of accommodation. I would not lie, I've been a student, obviously my husband has been a student for the past 5 years, and we've been looking for accommodation. No accommodation. We've basically been living in a student accommodation, which is quite comfortable, but we are looking for something more housing. I mean, something more family that can accommodate family of 5 or family of 4. But at the moment we are not finding anything. Now coming to market and finding that there is no house for students, there is no house for family. The UK government or schools are now advising students to defer their admission or to leave. Some schools are advising students to defer their admission if they don't have accommodation, because there's no point coming to school if you don't have accommodation. Where are you going to live? Especially for people who are international students. So right now accommodations are quite scarce and expensive. Imagine a 2-bedroom for £800 or £900, excluding bills, and your bill can amount £100 a month. Yes, and to think that we're in the winter period, so heating up at this moment will be very, very expensive. Energy bills are going to be very high. Students are going to gear it up, because this is not summer. I mean, where you are going to work extra hours or we're going to work extra shifts. School is going to be in session during the winter period, so you're going to definitely be working while you are studying. So you're only entitled to 20 hours. So it all depends on your dependents, for those who don't have dependents. So what I'm saying here is that if you don't have accommodation, please don't move into the UK. The UK is choked up at the moment. There's shortage of accommodation, and accommodation is very expensive. I had a family of 5 who moved into the UK 2 weeks ago. I could tell you that they are still hopping from one Airbnb, one hotel to another. Husband and wife and 3 children, and I can tell you 1 8, 1 6, 1 is 3. How are they going to cope? Because there is no accommodation. The UK is not like back home where you have families who are readily available to accommodate you or put you in their house. Is it me who lives in a 2-bedroom apartment or a 3-bedroom apartment that will have to accommodate someone who has family of 5, or someone who has family of 2, or someone who has family of 3? The UK, most people don't even have that time or don't even have that accommodation or space to accommodate people. So if you're moving into the UK and you're thinking of coming into the UK first before you get an accommodation, please think twice. I advise that you get an accommodation first, secure it for 3 months, 6 months, pay full payment before moving into the UK. That's if you're coming with a family. But if you're coming with yourself, it's still quite good and it's still advisable to get an accommodation for yourself. Most of the students who are here, who are the British or the Asians or the Europeans who are studying in the UK, you know, some of them have families here and they school away from home, live in Manchester and school in Sheffield, and their parents allow them to live in the school environment, not in living in Manchester and schooling in Sheffield. So that's why some of them live around the school. So the UK is actually occupied at the moment, and I'm going to read a few statements from where I got this source from. Students have been advised against traveling to certain universities in the UK if they have been unable to secure accommodations ahead of their new academic year. While international students planning to relocate to the UK, Glasgow, have been warned that the university may not be able to offer them housing. If you have not yet made any accommodation arrangement, would strongly advise that you do not complete registration and enrollment or travel to Glasgow until you have secured your accommodation. Email read: the University Students' Union, the SRC, have expressed its disappointment at the university's approach, saying in a statement, after the accommodation crisis across Glasgow last year, the university to commit a memorandum on students' numbers despite this is not seems to be over recruiting students without accommodation. So I personally have worked with the university here in the UK, and I worked alongside the accommodation department. At the moment, no accommodation. I mean, there is no accommodation. I have gone through the list. 180 people are on the waiting list, and I can tell you that, and I can say that, or from that 80 list of people, 50%, with what I can recognize, their names are African names. 50% are already in the waiting list to go into this accommodation, and I am in charge. So I'm thinking to myself that if there is no accommodation, why come into a country that you don't know? Because if you're thinking of putting on in an Airbnb and getting accommodation, it's going to be difficult. It's better you speak to an agent while back in your country, get an accommodation settled for 6 months or 4 months maximum before thinking of relocating to the UK. Because if you put your mind on settling in the UK in an Airbnb or an hotel for 1 week, thinking you're going to sort out accommodation, you're going to be shooting yourself in your leg. You're going to end up being stranded because you're going to fall into scams, because people know that students are tripping into the UK. They're going to scam you of your money because they'll tell you, come for viewing. If you want to secure the property, you have to put £500 down for deposit to secure the property. You have to put 700, and that's how they're going to scam. They've scammed a lot of people that I'm aware of. So guys, please, if you have any family who is coming to school in the UK 2022-2023 academic section and they don't have plans of getting accommodation when they arrive, please tell them to wait back in their country, sort out accommodation for 4 months maximum before relocating to the UK. If they're thinking of depending on Airbnb, at the moment, Airbnb is choked up, is accommodated. If you thinking of paying for another night, probably you are saying, okay, you will leave tomorrow and you don't end up living. You're thinking of paying for that same room the other night. Someone else has already paid for it because the landlord has already uploaded it online that it's going to be vacant the next day. So guys, I thought to share this information, and if you found it informative, please don't forget to share. I'm going to put on the screen some of the informations and the sources I got this information from, so you don't think that it's just a made-up story. There's a short of 26,500 student housing places. That's how short of accommodation it is at the moment. So guys, I thought to share this information with you. If you found it very informative, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up, like, share, and of course subscribe to my channel for more content like this. Thank you for watching today's video. Till I see you next time, guys. Bye.